Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Ladies and gentlemen, or should I say pilgrims, welcome back for episode 35 of the Missing Links Golf Show. I'm Steve Hinks, joined by Andy Walker. Andy Walker, welcome to the show, and I feel like it's almost been a before and after experience of life over the last sort of 4 or 5 days.
Yes. I have to say I'm still recovering.
Still reeling?
And I'm not necessarily talking about my injury.
We will get to that.
Yes,
we will get to that,
yes.
I have no doubt. But
definitely it's been an interesting few days, in the golfing world.
That it has, ladies and gentlemen. The US Open has been played and won in sensational circumstances.
Or lost, as it would be.
Or lost, yes. And whilst this is a golf show about two blokes either side of 50 striving for middle-aged sporting glory, I feel it would be remiss of us not to have a little bit of a US Open review, Andy Walker, given what's transpired.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's just so much to unpack of what happened in the US Open, and not just from the results, but just golf in general. I think there's a lot there. It would definitely be remiss of us if we didn't actually have a conversation about those things, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of those things also will impact us, and it'll impact golf moving forward. So yeah, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there. Before we get into that, and I am thoroughly looking forward to getting into that in some detail with you, because we were sharing some messages over the weekend, and certainly, sort of post that final round, which there's a lot to talk about there in debrief. But I do want to kick off with some voices of the pilgrims, Andy Walker, and I'll start with a very simple one that I received, and what I will do is I'll tell you what the message was before disclosing who it was from, which of our pilgrims it was from. You may be able to guess. Yep. The message was very simple, and it was this: "I told you so."
Oh,
any guesses?
Okay, no.
It was, in fact, friend of the show, former guest of the show, Scotty from Queensland.
All right. Scotty Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I wonder what that related to.
That may have related to an old man trying to stretch too far in his swing and doing himself a mischief. So Scotty thoroughly enjoyed that. Another one, and I love this one. This is from our very good friend, fast becoming one of the closest friends of the show, is Aris from Georgia in the US, who you might recall sent us the message asking about snakes on the course, that we went into quite some detail about. And actually, before I get to his message, I was down at the short game practice area over the last couple of days here at my home club, and I came across an old friend, Old Man Kangaroo.
Oh, right.
He's still around.
I thought he'd disappeared.
I hadn't seen him for a while, and I will pop a photo up, not necessarily of him because he was kind of a bit in the distance, but I would say there was easily 100 kangaroos hanging around as I walked down onto the course. Right. It was really spectacular, and actually,
so
very,
he
very
wasn't
cool.
giving you the eye? And...
No, he wasn't giving me nor anybody else anything at that particular time. Just enjoying a little bit of grass for his afternoon snack. But Aris says, "Great episode, mates." Nice, calling us mates. I like that. It's good. It's good. He said, "Enjoyed the answers to my question and comment. Love it. I will definitely share my experience about my fitting," because you might remember that he mentioned as well that he was getting a fitting. I'm scheduled for next week.
And whether did he say whether it's a brand specific?
Oh, I'm not sure.
If you just,
Not sure. He said he was.
Whether he's just going to like his local club pro or a shop to get fitted not a brand specific, or whether he's actually going to, like I did, to a Titleist fitting. Or
I don't
brand.
know. I don't know. But he does say, I will definitely share my experience about my fitting, which is good. He's scheduled for next week, which is probably this week by the time people are listening to this episode.
Yep.
He also goes on to say, just got back from a golf trip to Scotland. Absolutely magical. Cheers. I want to see photos, Aris.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
We want photos.
And where you played as well.
Details. Scotland's absolutely on the list for a golf destination for me.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know you've been there.
I've driven through. Never didn't play it in Scotland. I've stayed at St Andrews at the Old Course Hotel, as we've covered before. Went and visited Carnarvon in probably not my best form after an evening at St Andrews.
Yeah, I remember that. That was gold. That was so good.
Episode that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, would love. There's a number of golf courses that I would love to play in St Andrews. It just looks like a phenomenal place. So potentially a Scotland, Ireland golf trip might be on the agenda.
How good would that be?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be great.
I'd love to hear from our pilgrims over in this part of the world a suggested itinerary for the two of us to tackle when we eventually get approval from Missing Links Golf Show management for an international golf trip.
Yeah, that may be a little while away, but we'll work on it.
We'll definitely work on it.
Yeah.
And there was one more, and I really enjoyed this one because I've got to admit, at the beginning of when we started talking about the title for the last episode and the subject matter that we were going to go into, I did feel somewhat exposed. So this is, I listened to the pod today and thought to myself, how many times has he broken 80 in comp to give such wise advice? From friend of the show, Alex from New South Wales.
Nice.
Alex, the answer to that question is 5 times. 5 times. 2 of those in my last 3 rounds. So no, I don't feel that I am by any stretch an authority on the subject. However, this I will say, I have definitely learned a lot over the period that we've been doing this show to enable me to actually get to that point, and that was the essence of what we were trying to get across. My response to Alex was basically, well, what did you think of the list that we put out? Well, let's not focus on me so much. What did you think about the information? And his response to that, let me just find that, was the advice was sound.
Oh, so he's had a crack that you're not the expert in the field, but then the actual advice that you've put out is pretty good.
There is a fallacious argument methodology known as ad hominem, which is attack the man, not the argument. I feel that we may have seen an example of that. But he also goes on to say, and you are on a good run at the moment, so perhaps you have in fact found the secret. So thank you for the acknowledgement, Alex. I do appreciate that. Yeah. We went, Alex. Yeah. We then went on to have a very, very detailed debrief of the US Open after that, but we won't go through all of that right now. So there has been a few voices of pilgrims. I'm sure there's more out there. Please feel free to get in contact. There's a number of ways that you can do it. You can send us an email, Andy Walker, the missinglinksgolfshow@gmail.com. There are other ways. You could jump on the Facebook page, I think, Missing Links Golf Show.
We've got Instagram, don't we?
Pretty sure we've got Instagram, Missing Links Golf on Insta. X, Andy Walker, you get us on X.
Formerly known as Twitter, I believe.
Yep. TML Golf Show, you'll find us there. I do believe as well there's very conveniently a little button that you could push in the show notes.
Yep. I have seen that, and I've seen a little bit of feedback come through.
Yeah, so there's a number of ways you could get in contact. Oh, Andy Walker, what do you think? Just rock up when we're on the golf course. Say good day. Introduce yourself.
Well, if you know where we're going to be and what our tee times are, then that's all well and good.
Keep listening to this episode. You may get, oh no, it's going to be yesterday.
Yeah.
Shame.
No,
actually later today.
When when this drops,
it'll be later
it's
today.
going to be later today.
You'll be on the way to the course.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Definitely will be on the way to the course.
Take a recording when you're on the way to the course, and then we'll play it in the next episode, which will actually be you talking at the time when people are actually listening to you talking in this episode. Nice. It's kind of like Inception or The Matrix in a golf podcast kind of a way. That's off topic.
So should I take the recording whilst listening to this episode?
Oh,
just to prove.
That's next level. Take the recording whilst listening to this bit of the episode, assuming that it doesn't get cut out in the edit, which is possible. Wow.
That'd be a bit weird, but anyway.
Take the recording whilst listening to me saying, Andy Walker, you're in the car on the way to Carnarvon. Now, I really want you to focus on the process. Just relax. Let's not think about the outcome. Okay, let's focus on the process. Every shot on its own merits. Each shot is not a sequence of events, but it's an independent event that you can focus on, and you can give as much energy as is required to that independent event. Andy Walker, you've got this. Go out, light it up, qualify for the New South Wales Senior Open. I'll be your caddy. Let's go.
Yep. And because I'm traveling down with David McClelland, in my other ear, I'll be hearing short game.
Actually, what you may want to do, just considering DMC's previous tournament round, is maybe sit him down and get him to listen to the How to Break 80 episode.
Yeah, look, I'm
How do you reckon that'll go?
Yeah, it may be the last time we travel together if I do that.
Go, oh, Dave, I've got this really good episode that I think you should listen to. It's called How to Break 80.
Yeah, we have actually invited him on in a couple of weeks, and he may not rock up if I do that. So,
oh man, Pilgrims, this is an example of why we actually should do more preparation and write ourselves a script, because when it goes off topic quite this badly, it can go anywhere. But Andy Walker, I want to bring you back. I want to step in the time machine and the location machine and take you back to Sunday afternoon at Pinehurst number 2.
Which was Monday morning, our time.
It was. What on earth happened?
It's a very, very good question. I thought after 14 holes that it was Rory's day. And you look at some of his near misses. You look at the 2022 British Open that Cam Smith won at St Andrews. He ball striking wise, was phenomenal. Couldn't make a putt. Last year's US Open, ball striking wise, awesome. Couldn't make a putt. This year, he was making those crucial, critical putts.
He was
up until the 15th hole.
He was. I actually want to go back. I want to go back a little bit further. I want to go back a bit further than 14th or 15th. I actually want to go to the first. That putt that he dropped from about 25 feet for birdie on the first hole.
Yeah.
Like when that goes in, and I was watching that and I thought, Rory's going to do this. He's absolutely going to do this. This is the time to get the monkey off the back, silence the critics, and prove the fact that the close calls in the past have just been golf. When you step out in a major tournament, there's you start with 150 odd players.
Yeah, I think there was 156 in the field for the US Open.
So there's 156 in the field, 155 of them lose.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So
half the field don't even make the weekend.
That's right. So to be the one individual to beat the entire field, that's hard. Yeah. I think we all know that. That's a statement of the bleeding obvious. But, to have that expectation, it's not like a game of football or many other sports where it is binary win-lose. One guy wins, one guy loses. It's
Yep.
One guy wins, 155 guys lose.
Yeah. Yep.
It couldn't be a harder sport.
Oh, for sure.
To win.
And yeah, absolutely. And even Jack Nicklaus, I remember, and I might have mentioned this in one of the early episodes. I listened to Paul McGinley talking at one of the events, and apparently he had quite a good relationship with one of Jack's sons, and
yes.
And Jack was over playing. I think it was in Spain. They were playing, and his son was caddying for him. And Paul McGinley, it was one of his first tournaments. And Paul McGinley said to Jack, "Son, if Jack has time, I'd love to meet love to meet your dad. Love to have a yak to him." And Jack's son might have been Gary. Said, "Oh, look, he's really busy this week. Not sure if he's going to be able to sort of do it, and but we'll see. I'll keep you in mind." And apparently, Jack missed the cut. So then it was might have been on the Friday night or maybe the Saturday night. There was the opportunity, and Paul received this phone call from Jack's son saying, "If you can make it to dinner tonight, we've got a spare spot here for you." And Paul McGinley was like, "Yep, absolutely, 100%." Sort of got to the restaurant pretty quick, smart, and it was just four of them. It was Jack's manager, Jack's son, and Paul McGinley, and apparently they had a great night, really good time. Wines and food, and a lot of conversation. And apparently, as they were leaving, Jack grabbed Paul McGinley and said, "You've got to remember something when throughout your career, I'm considered." One of the best, if not the best that have ever played. And I lost 90% of the time.
That's right.
And you sit back and you think, okay, you greatest, well, I consider Jack to be the greatest golfer that ever lived still. I know a lot of people think Tiger, but I still consider Jack to be the greatest golfer that ever lived. Greatest golfer, lost 90% of the time. That to me is just it's puts everything into perspective as to just how hard this game is.
No, it does. I mean, on a similar vein, there's a video floating around the interweb at the moment of Roger Federer at a university or college graduation.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And it's a similar story. And he's saying, like obviously Roger Federer is one of, not necessarily the greatest, but definitely one of the best tennis players to have played the game, and certainly one of the big four over recent memory. But his remark was, of all of the points that I played for in tennis, which remember is man on man, right? Like that's not man on field. This is man on man. Because of all the points that I played for in tennis, I only won 56% of the points that I played. Which is remarkable. Obviously, he won many, many more matches because the scoring system in tennis is even more quirky than golf. But it just reminds you, particularly at the top level, how difficult it is to win. And in a game like this, when it comes down to one winner, 155 losers, it's brutal. And especially like over that 4-day period when one mistake under intense pressure can be the difference.
I think in golf, it's so critical. You've got to win the moments in golf. And there are critical moments, and it's certainly in a major like the US Open, there's a lot of them because the margin for error is so small. However, I also think there are times and there are moments that you've got to win, and that's what Tiger was great at doing. Tiger was great at pulling out his best golf in the right moment.
Absolutely.
And Jack Nicklaus was exactly the same. He was great at pulling his best golf out at the most critical time to win those big events. And I don't know.
So here's a point on that, right? I hadn't thought about this before. So riffing off the back of your remark, Tiger pulled out his best in the big moments to win the big moments. Tiger did it time and time again. Everybody expected him to do it. He expected him to do it. There was no doubt. There was no, there was no concern. Even if he didn't do it, he usually does, so it's not a big deal. Everyone expects Rory to fail in the big moments. Rory even thinks he's probably going to fail in the big moments, I think in his heart of hearts. And I think that putting stroke that he put on 18 says, and I know it was an incredibly difficult putt. Like, it broke about 2.5 cups to the right from a 3.5 foot putt. Okay, so I'm not downplaying that. However, it was tentative. It was tentative.
Think his putt on 15 was worse.
It was
15,
16. It was definitely worse, particularly after Bryson had opened the door with his own 3-putt. But
yeah,
but the point is that was the moment Tiger would not have missed that putt.
No, neither would Jack.
And nobody would have even thought for a moment that it was possible that he was going to miss that putt. Tiger would not have thought that it was possible that he was going to miss that putt. Yet I reckon Rory was hoping the putt went in, not expecting it to go in.
I had a feeling when he was standing over that putt,
I think we all did,
that he was going to miss it. And it was just this, and it's what you say. It's actually very Greg Norman-esque.
Oh, don't say those words.
Yeah, but it is, he's the amount of times that Rory has now been in contention for majors.
Yeah.
In comparison to how many he's won. Like, and I think they were quoting the last 10 years, he's had 7 top 10 finishes.
Yeah.
And not got it across the line as yet. I think he might be the last 5 in a row. He's finished either top 10 or top 5. Like, it's just a ridiculous stretch of golf without actually
winning.
Yeah.
So
and that's what Greg Norman used to do. Greg Norman used to put himself into contention so often. And that's what he used to say. He used to say, well, I put myself in contention. That's all I wanted to do. That's my main goal, is to be there at the end. And to a certain extent, that's true at the start of the week. But
that's not true.
Then going on and actually winning the big moments and winning the championship.
Of course. That's the first step.
That's the end goal.
That's the first step. I mean, it's like a football team saying we want to have a good first half to put ourselves in contention to try and win the game. But that's only half the job. It's not the whole job. You don't put the cue in the rack at that point and go, I've done my job, I got in contention, I'm happy. There's absolutely no chance. Yeah. So my other question, though, for you, and this is one that I've been thinking about, is after this experience, because, I mean, it's been clear, like, this has absolutely ripped the heart and soul out of Rory McIlroy to the extent that he could not even hang around to shake hands with the winner nor do an interview. Yeah. That's a point we'll come back to. But this experience, does this, in his next major, the Open Championship over in the UK, does this make it harder for him to win next time? Or does this make it easier for him to win next time? And that's a weird question.
Look, I think the only answer to that is going to make it harder, because he's got so many demons he has to have so many demons in his head. And when he's faced with the same situation, and when you're in, contention for a major, you're faced with the same situation. Or almost, while it's a unique shot, it's a similar situation, a similar pressure-packed short putt. There's going to be a moment there where you're going to have to overcome, nerves, negative thinking, and just be in that moment and pull out your best. Now, is Rory going to be able to do that in the next, major, whether it be the Open, whether it be, one of the majors next year? Does he have now too many demons to be able to get himself across the line? Or, and credit to him, he did come out on X and put out a statement, and he talked about his own resilience and that he would be back. So, he's obviously thinking that he still believes in himself to a certain extent, and he wants to keep going, and he wants to put himself in that situation again. But is it a bridge too far? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting few years to watch how he goes. I mean, Bryson sort of stood up and said that he believes that Rory will win multiple majors in the years ahead. Now, I don't know. I can't really see that happening. He might sort of get across the line with one, maybe two, but yeah, if he wins more than that, I'll be pretty surprised.
The reason why I asked that question, okay, is, and this is something that I feel that, being as qualified as I am to give Rory some advice on how to approach his next tournament.
Well, you've broken 85 times. I mean,
yeah. So Rory, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, but the thing is, right, like standing over that putt, there's a lot of different emotions which are going through. And I think both Paul McGinley and Brandel Chambly in commentary was both saying this, that nobody in the game is under more pressure to close a deal and win a major championship than Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I think is absolutely true. So standing over that last putt, which is probably to win, maybe for playoff, there's a number of things that's going through him emotionally at the time. One of them is obviously started to thinking about outcome, about the putt dropping and the result rather than getting the ball in the hole. So there's that. But I think one of the biggest things is fear. And it is that weight of expectation and that fear of, if this misses, what am I going to have to face from the questions from the press, from the fans, from myself, from all of these things that I don't want to believe about myself, as much as I don't like to use the word choker, but that obviously will be one that's going around his mind. Do I prove that I am in fact a choker in the big moment by missing this putt? Like, there's all of these fear things, and it's about avoiding the negative outcome rather than releasing himself to actually put the ball in the hole. So the reason that I asked, does this experience make it harder for him to win or make it easier for him to win? He has now experienced the worst moment that you could possibly have in a major championship. Nothing that he can face again is probably ever going to be that bad, but he's still alive. He's still okay. He can still come back and play the next tournament. So does that maybe reduce the fear factor a little bit?
I would think not. No.
I think it could if you channel it in the right way, though.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, and yes, if he sort of recalibrates and does look at it that way, I understand how that could be the case, but that's an incredibly difficult thing to do given what he's just been through, and it would be incredibly raw still. Only a few days afterwards. I mean, you look at what Greg Norman did in the 96 Masters. I mean, that still haunts him, and he's talked about that. I watched there's one of the Chronicles of a Champion Golfer, which is about the Open more so than the other majors. And in Greg Norman's episode, at the end, he rates himself as about a 6 in major championships. And after he says it,
that's probably fair.
But after he says it, the camera just focuses on his face, and you could just see, you can almost see the pain that he feels inside of the majors that he let go of, and the one that would probably be the rawest still would be the 96 Masters, because he wanted the Masters more than any other major.
And he had, a 6-shot lead with 9 holes to play or something crazy like that.
I see six with 18.
Yeah.
He was still in the lead with 9 to play, but it was only a couple.
Right, yeah. Faldo
had already, knocked back a few of them.
Yeah.
By the time they got to the turn.
Yeah. So anyway, there's obviously a lot for Rory to deal with. And I think the thing is to get straight in his mind how he would approach that type of a shot again, that type of a moment again, because the moments that they will come. He is a good enough golfer to put himself in that situation.
And I also find it really interesting is that his ball striking also in the last 4 holes seemed to go off.
It did
a little bit as well, and whether that was sort of started at 15 and he hit it long on 15 with a 7-iron. Now a lot of the commentary was around he took too much club. Now that to me was a mental error more than anything else. And then 16 and he missed the green on 17 and had a great up and down. And 18, he missed the fairway with his driver, and his driver was just an absolute bullet the whole day.
Yeah, but should he have been hitting driver on 18?
Um, Look, without knowing the courses as well as what they do, I'm not sure, but certainly the fairways were quite wide.
But they narrowed. They
Um,
actually, that one narrows as it gets to driver distance, and
yeah,
it would have
it
been
did.
a flick gap wedge from where he would have ended up if he was straight, even if that.
Mm,
Whereas say a 3 wood or even a long
mm.
iron, he's probably hitting a wedge or 9 iron into the green. I'm
But
just not sure.
that's the modern game, isn't it? Like, if you look at the last four golfers, they all took driver. I mean, Cantlay hit it in the scrub as well. I mean, Bryson, where he hit it was, well, it should have been dead,
Well,
but
pretty
he
much
he
was.
made it. Yeah, but he made a miraculous four out of the lie he was in after his tee shot. So they all they all took the same club. Was that the right club? Well, that's the modern game, isn't it? You stand up there with a driver and rip it.
Unless there is, significant trouble in that area and there's a reason to not do it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying driver was the wrong call by any stretch. Like he hits the driver better than anyone else in the world. So if anyone's going to do it, he should be doing it. But it did, like they all looked, Bryson's swing with his driver, mind you, he hadn't hit driver well all round, but it looked tight. Rory's looked tight. Totally understandable for it to be that way. But there was a lot that could have gone wrong. And I think when you get the other thing as well, Pinehurst number 2, instead of having the rough, but having those native areas, which is such potluck and hit and miss for,
Yeah.
are you going to have a shot or are you not going to have a shot? That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. After watching the event, I don't know if I want to go to Pinehurst or not, which is
I'd love to go to
interesting.
Pinehurst.
It's interesting.
I reckon it is, and the whole complex. I mean, they've got 10 golf courses there.
Yeah, I know. Well, you got to spend a fortnight there, obviously.
Like, it just looks like a phenomenal place to play golf. I would love to go to Pinehurst. Like,
I'd probably go with you, but like, it's I don't know. It didn't make me want to play it as much as a lot of the other courses that I see
really?
on the majors. Yeah, but and it was because of the native areas instead of having rough. Like that just was. I felt it was weird.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry
No,
to
look,
our good friends at Pinehurst. I do apologise for those remarks, but it
if you want to invite someone on the show, I'm more than happy to accept an invitation on behalf of both of us.
Yeah.
Look, it's interesting because I did read a couple of commentators say that if Bryson had been playing like winged foot, for instance, if he had driven the ball like that at winged foot, there was absolutely no way he would have won the US Open. But he just seemed to, every time he seemed to drive it in one of those native areas, I think there was once, or actually twice because of 18, that he got a lie that he wasn't able to have some sort of swing at it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I say, it's a bit of a lottery. Whether you could lose the ball in some of that wire grass if it went in a tuft and you didn't have spotters. But then there's other times where you've pretty much got a clear shot as if you were almost on the fairway. So it's unusual, I suppose.
No, I have to say, I thought that the USGA did a phenomenal job with this US Open. I thought the course was presented immaculately, and the scoring I think was perfect.
I'd agree with that.
I don't like seeing over par win. I like seeing under par win a tournament, but when you're at a major, you don't want to be seeing 15 to 20 under win. So I think the winning score of 6 under, I mean, they got to 8. Did Bryson get to 9?
Oh, I don't know. Not to my knowledge.
It was about 8 under was the lowest score that they got to.
Yeah.
And for me,
and that was after being 5 under on day one.
Yeah. So for 5 to 8 under as the winning score, I think that's your money in something like a US Open. I'm not a fan of the PGA winning score. What was that, about 21 under or something?
Yeah.
Xander,
I think it was 21. Yeah.
I think that's way too low for a major.
Yeah.
If someone plays phenomenally well out of their skin and wins by 8 or 9, like Rory has and Martin Keimer and Tiger did, and they get to like 12 and 13 under, well, that's just someone having a brilliant week. But that 5 to 8 under, I think is a good sort of target. And yeah, I really enjoyed the spectacle of the US Open this year.
High praise indeed. One other question that I've got before we move on to other topics was, if the roles were reversed and in terms of who was in which group, and let's say that Rory was in the last group and Bryson's in the group in front.
Yep.
And Bryson hits his drive on 18 where he did, and he punches out and finds himself in that bunker. And at that point, he's thinking that he's probably got to birdie to force a playoff, certainly to win, but a par would probably not be enough. How does he go with that 55-yard bunker shot? Because I think playing that, and the comment was made by the commentary team at the time, playing that knowing that getting it out in 2-putt would at worst be a playoff was a bit of a pressure valve reliever, rather than really thinking that he's got to stiff it and make the putt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bryson played so many good shots around the greens during the 72 holes. I'm not convinced that he wouldn't have got up and down. It might have been, was it 15 that, what's the other par 3 on the course? I think it might have been 15 where he hit it, and he hit it there both Saturday and Sunday. But back left, he hit it, and he got up and down both times, which was just, and he was almost the only one to get up and down from that position. Some of his short game skills, and this is where I think Bryson has really developed his game to the next level. And yeah, he's always hit it a long way. I mean, his ball speed of 190 plus is just like, it's out of this world. It really is. Mind you, I mean, Rory was getting it out there, 190-ish.
Yeah, he was.
A lot of the time as well, which is
high 180s,
which
for
is
a lot of it.
Unbelievable. But the short game and putting skills that Bryson displayed throughout the US Open, I think that just takes him to the next level. And I was never a fan of Bryson a couple of years back, but it's hard not to like him. It's, I'm finding what he's doing and what he's doing for the game, and his engagement, not just, he's got great engagement with the crowd and with the fans, but what he's doing to grow the game, by his attitude. I mean, how open and honest he is with the media. His YouTube, I've watched a couple of videos of on his YouTube channel, and some of them are just hilarious. He actually looks back, and I heard him sort of talking about, his, prior years and not having a great engagement with the other players around him and with the crowd and with the media, when he was seen as, the villain. And he was asked, if he regrets that time. And he said, no, I don't regret that time. I've used it as a learning experience. And he said, everything's a learning experience, and everything's about getting better and having a look at what you're doing and giving yourself an honest assessment and becoming better at whatever it is that you're doing at the time. And for me, that mindset and what he's been able to do, so it's not just him talking about it, he actually then goes and does it. And the way he's sort of transformed himself into it's almost a complete package of sort of almost, Tiger-like in his attraction and what he's going to bring to the game of golf, I think has been phenomenal, and I think it's great for the game.
Can't disagree with a single word that you said there, Andy Walker, and I think he's probably the most exciting prospect on the golf course at the moment. Yeah. That he's, and unsurprisingly, the crowds are getting behind him and fans are getting behind him in a way that he's the only guy, I think, that's really transcended the LIV PGA Tour civil war.
Absolutely.
And for everyone that thought John Rahm going to live was going to be the end of the conflict and the person that could unite them all, the chosen one, if you like, Anakin Skywalker style, it's been Bryson, and it continues to be Bryson. And I think this win and his press conference afterwards, where he said a lot of these things, is actually going to be the thing that makes the biggest difference. And it's interesting listening to you talk about, the fact that he's really embracing the crowd and he's embracing the persona and he's embracing having fun, and he talks about being an entertainer as much as he does about being a professional golfer. If you look at the mental golf type and kind of break that down and the differences between Bryson and Rory, then I think it's fair to say that, Bryson's very much the extroverted personality type.
Oh, for sure.
That's going on there. But he's playing to that. And maybe he didn't used to do that. Like maybe his approach actually wasn't really suiting his mental golf type or his personality type. But he's found that way. And I think that by doing that and really embracing that, it's helping him embrace the moments. You talked before about big moments. It's helping him to do that and to harness the energy into that. And I just don't think Rory's done that. Like whatever it is that he needs to do to understand himself and understand his relationship to the big moments. I'm not saying that Bryson's method is the right one for Rory, but he certainly needs to find out what it is, because at the moment he's lost in the big moments, whereas Bryson's found a way to really thrive in those moments. So
yeah. And the other thing the other thing that is really unique about Bryson that I've seen him do a few times now, because you see the players out there, and they're in there. There's some of them will feed off the crowd, and they'll interact with the crowd, and obviously interacting with each other, and getting pumped up. But Bryson also interacts with the camera.
Yeah.
So he interacts with the people watching at home.
Yeah.
And you saw that a couple of times. And I remember the one moment he got up and down, I forget what hole it was. And he looked into the camera and wiped his brow.
Yeah.
Like, and you look at that and you go, he's engaging people.
Yeah.
He's completely engaging people, and that's what I was. I was engaged. I was completely engaged with the Bryson show. Look, I wanted, and I must admit, I was barracking for Rory. I wanted to see Rory win, but I'm just as happy seeing Bryson win because I see what he's bringing to the game.
No, again, agree. Like I started that round really hoping that Rory would break the curse. And by the end of the 18 holes, I was on Team Bryson. It was fun.
Yeah.
Watching Rory was stressful.
Yeah. It brings a whole new dynamic to the game as well, I think, in that, you've got what Bryson has brought to the game, but you've also, what's happened with Rory is really intriguing as to how he deals with what's just happened. I mean, you briefly mentioned how he dealt with it after the round, and
which I do want to come back to, and it's a good segue. Yeah, it's a good segue.
And there was that footage of him watching Bryson putt out, and you could just see how gutted he was, and you really felt for him.
Absolutely.
But then he took his bat and ball and went home.
Oh, and isn't this a really interesting moment? I mean, I know we've chatted about this on the Messenger just a little bit. We haven't had a chance to talk in person about it, so strap yourselves in, pilgrims, because here we go. So to paint the picture for you, for those who haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, then I'd be amazed, particularly if you're this deep into a golf
jump
podcast.
On YouTube, man.
Yeah. So Rory's he's missed his short putt. Bryson sunk his par putt to win. Torn Rory's heart out. Rory's in the scoring hut. And as the ball drops, he and his caddy just turn on their heels, walk out straight to the car park, pack the bags in the car and drive, I believe, straight to the airport, jump on the jet and flew off.
Mm. Yeah, well, I don't know where they went, but I certainly saw he did, and you see the gulp, when he realised that he'd lost, and he stops there for what 2 or 3 seconds just to take it in that it sunk in that
actually
I just
happened.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, sort of turned around and I think he sort of beckoned to his caddy, come on, let's go. And they walk out, and it was basically sort of straight out into the car park and jumped in his SUV and
disappeared.
I believe there was a little burnout that the couple of commentators there.
I hadn't heard that. I don't know. There could be a bit of mayonnaise on the story there. I don't know.
There was a little because it was a gravel, and apparently the accelerator was pushed quite
a touch too
firmly.
firm.
And there was a bit of a burnout that happened on the way out. So, look, it's I don't know. I understand he was gutted. However, you look at, and the comparison was made between what Bryson did when Xander Schauffele sunk that putt to beat him in the PGA Championship, and almost the first person that went over to congratulate Xander was Bryson.
Yep.
And I'm sure Bryson was, Bryson didn't miss a short putt or a couple of short putts.
Look, I think the difference as well is that Bryson did not have the weight of the world on his shoulders to be winning that tournament. Not in anywhere near the same amount as what Rory did.
I understand that, but do you not front up and shake your competitor's hand? Isn't that good sportsmanship in that, you need to be a really good winner, but you also need to be a really good loser? Andy
Walker, hands down, honestly, and I've thought about this over the last 24 hours. So growing up playing cricket all my life as a team sport, granted, and different situations, and obviously not in the same spotlight and not in the same pressure as anything that Rory had. However, this much that I will say, and we lost some close games. We lost some heartbreaking games over time. We lost some grand finals, which was really hard to take. And we lost some grand finals against bitter rivals that you knew you were about to hear them sing their team song in their change room next door and, belt the stumps on the bin lid and all that sort of fun stuff.
Give it to you.
Yeah, but if you're going to play the game, you've got to be prepared to lose. Yeah. And if you're not prepared to lose, you're not allowed to win. And the thing was that always within that sporting environment, you shook hands at the end of the game, congratulated the winner. And if there was any time where any of us in any of those sporting teams refused to go out and shake hands with the other team and took off beforehand, that would be, and I promise you, the last time that you would ever set foot in that sporting team for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So on this situation, I absolutely empathise with where Rory was at, and I totally understand the feelings of devastation, grief, all of those things. But I will not and cannot accept that he did not shake the victor's hand at the end of that round of golf. And I also hold his caddy accountable for allowing that behaviour to take place. Because that's the point where he goes, no, you are not leaving till you shake his hand. I can cop the not doing media because it could potentially be too hard to talk.
Yeah.
But you shake the winner's hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I agree with that. And I think Rory got it wrong.
And I think he'll admit that in time.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, he sort of did admit that on his ex post that, he congratulated Bryson and said that, Bryson was a deserved winner as he was. But yeah, not hanging around to shake your opponent's hand. I just that really grinds me a little bit, and I just think I like Rory. I think he's been hard done by over the last couple of years as to, I think he was shafted by the PGA Tour, and I feel
controversial words, Andy Walker, but hard to disagree with.
Yeah, I definitely think he said he felt like a scapegoat, and I definitely think he was.
Yeah.
However, in this instance, I think he's got it wrong. I definitely think he got it wrong. He needed to stay and at least shake Bryson's hand. I mean, look, and I drew comparisons to Greg Norman. I mean, Greg Norman even fronted the media after his 96 Masters collapse.
Yeah.
And give credit to the Shark. He has always been ready to face up to his shortcomings, and he's had a fair few of those on the golf course, but he's never not shaking his opponent's hand, and he's always fronted up to the media and been open and honest about where he's at, and give credit where credit's due. And if I just think Rory got that whole end of game wrong.
He got it totally wrong. The reality of it is, the narrative could have been heartbreak for Rory, but look at him. He's showed the class of a champion by rising above it to do the right thing,
100%.
demonstrate his sportsmanship, shake Bryson's hand, all of those things. It could have turned into a really positive story for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But instead, the narrative is Rory's a spoiled brat, can't even shake the hand of the winner. Not only did he choke, but he threw a tantrum and threw his toys out of the pram as a result of it. And he's heaped negativity upon negativity onto himself as a result of that decision. And I just think I understand him feeling those feelings in the moment. I don't understand him allowing himself to actually do it.
Yeah.
But the cool heads around him, he's not there on his own. There's a team of people around him for everybody to allow him to go through with that, and for nobody to stand there and go, no, I'm sorry, boss, you are getting this horribly wrong. You will go out there and shake his hand. I feel his team's let him down as well.
Yeah. And again, I don't disagree with that. But there is also something, and we had a brief conversation around him not fronting the media immediately after the US Open. He's going to have to front the media next time.
100%.
And whether that be at the Scottish Open or the Open, he's going to have to front the media at some stage. Surely it's better to rip the Band-Aid off and go do it at the time.
There is no doubt.
As hard as what that is.
There is no doubt.
Surely that's got to be better than having to do. He's going to take a few weeks off, and he says, and come back for the Scottish Open. It's gonna be there after his time off. He's gonna have to do it. He's gonna have to front the media, and he's going to be asked all the questions. Surely it would have been better for him to do it at the time after the Open. Then he has his break and he comes back a lot fresher.
And everyone restarts
with
fresh
behind him. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think potentially in the back of his mind, he's thinking the next one's on home ground, more or less. I go back there and, potentially the British press will be a little bit more receptive and a little bit nicer than the US press, which I think is reasonable, because all of us are aware of just how supportive and friendly the British press can be.
Sorry.
The only thing
I cannot believe you actually said that with a straight face.
I was going to say, I'm so proud of myself for getting through that monologue with a straight face right until the end. It's just absurd. It's absurd. You're right. Like, have the hard conversation now. Give yourself time to recover. It will still get raised before the Open, but it will be easier than what it is now going to be, where no one's had a chance to give you a grilling, and they're also going to give you a grilling about your behaviour after the round, which, to be perfectly honest, Rory, indefensible.
Yep. And look, I think that the only way that he's going to, he can't sweep this under the carpet. I think the only way that he's going to be able to move on from this is to put his hand up and say, yeah, look, I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I should have hung around, and I should have, congratulated Bryson.
Well, I think he has to say that.
The worthy winner.
He has to say that.
Yeah, that'll just be a massive elephant in the room if he doesn't address it.
Yeah. But you know who the biggest winners are out of this, Andy Walker? The producers of Full Swing Season 3.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Can't wait for that episode.
Forward to that. And look, I really enjoyed last season, season 2, about last year's US Open. The whole Joel Damon, talking about his struggles, and not wanting to see a sports psychologist, and he really obviously struggled with the limelight that the first season of Full Swing brought to him, and I guess compare that with what's his name? The US Opens.
Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark
Yeah.
had a mental blank.
Yeah.
With Wyndham Clark's journey and the struggles that he had
Yeah.
with losing his mum and rebelling and the fact that he found a sports psychologist that was almost, had a mother type of nurturing personality that was able to let him heal a lot, and then bring him to a place where he was able to put his best foot forward, and one of the biggest championships in golf. So I found that episode to be a really enthralling, engaging episode. So Full Swing 3, US Open, look out.
Going to be a cracker.
Yeah, that is that. And I don't think that's just one episode. I think they're going to have to, put that over, that's going to be
the whole season
theme. It potentially could be.
It won't be
eight. It won't be eight episodes. It'll be,
no.
There's a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 episodes right there.
I sincerely hope that the Full Swing team were behind the scenes on this one, because I'd love to get the background on this.
Yep.
Wow. I think we've unpacked that pretty well, because we also, 2 parts to this episode. One was tournament debrief, which I feel we've probably done. The next is tournament prep, because
yes,
Andy Walker, there is, if anything could be bigger than the US Open at Pinehurst, then it is possibly the Carnarvon Seniors qualifying event for the New South Wales Senior Open, which
maybe.
Okay, a bit of a stretch, granted, but it's a big deal in our world.
It is.
You're on the tee sheet. It's next Monday.
Yep.
How are you feeling?
Struggling, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I
dang,
was.
That's not what we hoped for.
I was booked to play in the comp at my home club today, and I pulled the pin. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm improving. I have been able to hit some golf balls in the high performance center. Been mainly working through my short game and putting. I've got the putting mat now, which has been really, really good. And I've been working on chipping and pitching, and I never really tried working on
cross-handed chipping. Is that what you're working on?
No. Never tried it in off the mat into the screen into the net in the high performance center. But I'm actually, and it was actually Michael Leonard who suggested that I try it. And it's actually been pretty helpful, I have to admit.
Talk me through this.
I've got a lot out of it. It's mainly, it's not necessarily because you can't really, there's a big difference between hitting off grass and hitting off a mat.
Sure.
Right. And you can't really feel your misses are a lot better off a mat than what they are off grass. But I'm working on the tempo of my short game. And really focused on tempo, really focused on form, really focused on making sure my setup and my grip pressure is where it needs to be. And I've got a lot of value out of it. I have to admit, like, it's been surprisingly good working on my short game in the high performance center. So that's been a really, really good positive that's come out of that. I feel as though my short game's going to be quite good next week. I've managed to hit at a time, a dozen shots, like full shots with a golf ball there. However, I do start to feel my, in my lower right rib cage. And I just, as soon as I start feeling sort of, and it's not a niggle, but it's just, I can start feeling that it's, potentially I could re-injure it. So I stop. And taking, 10 to a dozen full swings in the high performance center, taking that out to a golf course and, replicating that over a round of golf, I don't feel I was in a good position to be able to jump in and play in the comp today. So
I think you've made the right call.
My whole focus is next week. And if I happen to injure myself next week while I'm playing, well, so be it. I'll then, from there is probably about 7 weeks before my next event up at Newcastle and Horizons. So I do have some time to maybe take a month off and not do anything and let it fully recover. But I'm hoping to be able to get through next week, and then we'll see where we're at after that. But my whole focus has been to make sure I'm able to play next week. And the last thing I wanted to do was to re-injure it today and not be able to play next week.
I think you've made the right call. There's nothing to be gained from playing in today's comp other than a hit out and sort of obviously keep the rhythm going and those sorts of things. But you're certainly risking a lot.
And look, I'm going to be, from a competition play perspective, I'm going to be underdone next week. But I also feel as though over the last couple of months, I've played, in enough competition to be able to have some confidence there, and not just at my home club. I've played at a couple of other different clubs. Obviously, I played at Camden about a month ago, well, not quite, three or 4 weeks ago, and I played pretty well. So I can take that confidence and go forward with that. But yeah, the whole thing was being able to play next week, and there was nothing really more important than that. So pull the pin on today.
I think that's fair enough. I actually don't think it's a bad thing to have a couple of weeks off anyway, because you have been playing quite well, and sometimes it's not a bad thing then to have a little break, freshen up for the next competition. I honestly don't think that a couple of weeks break is going to do you any harm in terms of your competitive edge. I really don't think so. I think there's enough miles under the legs by now.
Yeah, I would have liked to have had one competition round in between, but it obviously hasn't worked that way. So I might try and, depending on how I feel on Saturday or Sunday, I might try and go out and play a few holes. But that'll be about it. It'll might be it probably won't be 9, but it might be 3 or 4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting just to see. Also, the full swing in the net's a little bit different at the full swing on the course as well, and just how the body reacts. Be interesting to see how that pans out. I haven't hit the driver yet either. That's the other thing. I've hit the 4 fairway, and the 4 fairway, is okay, but I haven't actually taken the big dog out and given it a rip. So I'm still a little bit tentative to be able to go that far. I do have another appointment tomorrow with another remedial massage. So hopefully that'll be my last treatment before Monday. So I'm hopeful that and look, this girl that I'm seeing, she's phenomenal. Like, she's done wonders for my recovery. But as I said, she works in a physio clinic, and she does have some knowledge of physiotherapy as well. So there's been a little bit of a cross there with, I'm sure, some physio techniques. But looking forward to getting through that tomorrow, and look, we'll see how we are on sort of Thursday and Friday. Spend a little bit more time in the high performance center, just getting back into it, and look, the stack as well, just being able to swing with the stack, and just increasing the weights with the stack, just to try and get some just helping with that recovery and building a little bit more strength in that area of my ribs has been pretty good, and that's obviously without the impact of the ball. So I'm not holding back with my swing either. I'm not at max speed, but I'm at full swing speed. And I feel as though that's also helping in my recovery. So I'm coming at it from a number of areas, and but I didn't feel like I was ready today to play. No, I think you've made the right call, and I think that will bear fruit come Monday next week. So let's talk about preparation itself. Injury aside, obviously we've had a bit of a chat about the injury, and that's got to, I guess, give a little bit of uncertainty potentially as well, just mentally coming into the round.
Well, it's certainly thrown how I would have prepared for Monday's round. Yep.
But it makes the victory all that more special and inspirational when it finally comes. So that's a good thing. Let's reframe. But in terms of the course, you're familiar with the course with Carnarvon?
This is one of the things that I've done as well, is that I've jumped on the website. Now there isn't any flyovers like there was with Camden on the website. However, there's the course map, so I know where the holes go. I've jumped on Google Earth and I've looked at potential landing areas and where I need to be. Some of the opportunity holes and some of the holes which are going to be, I'm going to have to, maybe be a little bit more conservative. However, and it's interesting because David McCollum actually mentioned this, when I was talking to him about it with Camden. He said, it's great to do some due diligence and have a look at Google Earth and look at the flyovers, but don't set yourself, and be inflexible with what you see on the tee.
Oh, you'd never be inflexible.
You don't think?
No.
And it's interesting because that was one of the things that resonated, because I remember on the second tee at Camden, on Google Earth and in the flyovers, I was going to hit my sort of 3 utility iron up the right hand side of the fairway to leave myself a wedge to the green. However, I stood on the tee and went, no, I can get up over those trees with a driver and almost get onto the green. And I've absolutely smoked a driver up over to about, 45, 50 meters and got up and down for birdie. So I sort of took on what David said. So this is going to be a similar thing in that I've had a look at it. And I do have a strategy, but that doesn't mean I'm going to lock myself into that strategy. It's also going to be, okay, well, I'm going to stand up on the tee and, go with how I feel just as much as what I've, the due diligence that I've done.
Sensing. So I've got a couple of questions. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but I've got the ShotScope app up here at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which enables me, you can't quite see that on the camera brilliantly, but it enables me to kind of move the landing zone around and get distances from the tee boxes. There's a few holes. Yep. The first hole's question. Okay, what are you going to hit off the tee on the first hole? Because, Pilgrims, first hole's par 5, 445 metres, so approximately 500 yard par 5. Now, off the tee, there are fairway bunkers up the right, starting at about 185 metres from the tee, and the end
is that from the back tees, or is that
it's from the pretty.
Of course, remember we seniors we don't play from the plates. We're playing from probably Saturday members comp.
There's not much of a tee box option, to be honest. It's just pretty much one tee box. So I don't think it'll make much difference. So anyway, from approximately where you would expect the tee to be, it's about 180 metres to the start of the first of 3 fairway bunkers. They're sort of in a little dribble up the right-hand side. The end of those, so to fly right over, would be 237 metres. So the question is, driver?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's 445 metres.
I don't think those fairway bunkers are that much of a punish if you get in them anyway.
Exactly. Worst case,
and you can clear them. You can clear them with driver.
I'm going to hit if I hit it in them, I'm going to hit a 6 or 7 iron out and still only have a wedge in.
100 in.
Like it's not it's not that much of a penalty if I go in them.
Something that is super weird about this hole is a tree in the middle of the fairway, exactly 110 metres from the tee, the centre of the fairway.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't see that on Google Earth.
I've got it right here, Andy Walker.
Yeah, right.
It is bizarre. I would imagine you would just fly straight over the top of it. I don't think it's huge. there's not that many other holes, I think, where there's question marks over what you've got to hit. Obviously, there's the par three, you've got to make a decision. There's a few holes with out of bounds, left or right, where the boundaries are. There's probably a couple of dog legs where you might have to maybe hit a utility iron to the corner. But the other one,
there is, I think there's a couple of holes where there's water, and I think it's down the right hand side. I think it's the last hole is
18.
one of them.
18 is one of my questions for you.
Yeah, where I'm not going to hit driver off 18 because if I hit driver, water comes into play. Whereas if I'm only hitting, I think it's a fairway. My full fairway will, and I think it's like 235 meters, which
I'll get it for you right now. All right. Depends where your tee box is, right?
Yeah.
So where shot scope is indicating the tee box, I'm going to leave it there because that's usually the members' tees.
Yep.
And if I take you to the corner of that pond, it's 260 metres.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's within range of driver, but it's not within range of my full fairway.
No. And to be honest, it's a slight dogleg left. The water's on the right. You'd be aiming at the lake.
Yeah. 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 So for me, that's another one.
How far is your four fairway?
About 230.
230. So let's just have a look at this. So if I bring that back to 230, you'll be 160 to 165 to the center of the green for your second.
Yep. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, my mid irons have been pretty good. So I've got no dramas hitting a mid iron into the green. So there was another hole where there's water down the right hand side. It might be on the front nine, might be about 8 or 9, where I was sort of thinking something similar. But again, it's probably just going to be a visual of what I feel comfortable on the day.
Not finding any other holes with water here.
No.
OB, yes.
Yeah, there's a few with OB because there's a main road that links through Lidcombe going through to Strathfield and Ryde. That potentially is a bit of an issue if you get it wrong.
Yeah, no other water issues. It's only 18 because that's the only water hazard on the course.
Are you sure there's not one down 8? I think it's the 8th hole.
Yep, I am positive.
Because I can see
sorry, no, there is. It's a long. It looked like trees until I zoom in because it's quite green. Yes, no, you're right. And that runs the whole length of the hole.
It does. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do much about that. And to be honest with you,
I'd be hitting. Well, you don't need to hit driver though. 230 gives you 120 in.
Yeah, but also the other thing with that one is that it's going to be a dogleg right rather than a dogleg left. It was a slight bend. It sort of slightly bends to the right hand side.
You're actually hitting away from the water.
I'm hitting away from the water, and the angle of the hole means I'm also hitting further away from the water. So I would think that driver's still a relative possibility. And the water is actually, there's this tree line, and it's on the other side of the tree line where the water hazard is. So yeah, I'm just going to stand on that tee and just make a decision as to how I feel on the day. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is the hazard actually starts back at about 100 metres off the tee.
Yeah.
And it goes pretty much all the way up to the green. There's no advantage for laying back because you're not taking the hazard out of play.
Yeah, correct.
So you may as well just rip
Give
one.
it a crack. Mm.
If you're going to be wet, be wet closer.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
So there you go.
Yeah, look, it's
course prep done.
Yeah. 2 holes done, or 3.
What you can't see, though, doing these things, and what you're never going to know is where to miss greens. If you've got to miss a green, like what's the side to avoid and what's the side where your bailout is. You can't tell that on overhead imagery.
No, you can't. You can't. And that's where the flyovers are really good, because when I was coming into Camden, I was looking at the flyovers, and you can actually tell where some of the areas not to miss. I mean, there are some subtleties that you do miss. Certainly on the green, you don't see the subtlety of the green, but you do see some of the steep banks, whether it be short or long or to the sides of the green, and you go, oh, I can't miss there. So, yeah, that's where the flyovers are an advantage, but I haven't been able to find the full 18 holes of flyovers at Carnarvon. So, again, I'll be just going a little bit blind, but for me, it'll be playing to the middle of the greens most of the time.
What time's your tee time?
Don't know yet. Release on Friday this week. So
shotgun start again? Same sort of deal?
Again, I'm not sure, but yeah, potentially.
Any option at all to get down before the round and have a walk around?
No, not
Can't
really,
go on Sunday afternoon.
No. I mean, look, Sunday's my family day, so I'm not gonna. I'm away all day Monday, so yeah, I'll spend time with the family on Sunday. So yeah, it's not really sort of my thing to miss Sundays with the family.
Fair enough. Just exploring the options. I'm here to help.
Yeah, look,
get you prepared, Andy Walker.
Yeah, look, it's a fair question, but again, I mean, when you look at priorities in life,
wow, we've had this conversation.
We have, and yes, I want to do really well, but do I want to do that well where I sacrifice time with my kids in sort of the one time in their life that I really need to be present? Probably not.
Not so much.
No,
not so much. All right. Any other preparation thoughts going into the weekend? Any takeaways from Bryson or Rory's experiences that might help or hinder?
Oh, look, I was maybe thinking about doing some visualization and meditation, but
do it.
But that's never been my strong point. So
no, I think you should do it. You should do it. Other than that, no, I'm quite enjoying the mindfulness meditation 5 minutes of a morning before crawling out of bed.
Yeah, look, and I did in the mental golf type. There are a couple of guided meditation sessions, which I've done one.
It's a good start. It's a very good start. You can't do your second without doing your first, Andy Walker.
I did one in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I probably should get back and do a few of those. It's certainly on the plan, in the agenda.
So I will say this much, right? I've been trying to do, just a few minutes in the morning it's really just concentrating on breathing, just to kind of center a little bit before getting out of bed, or conversely do it at night before going to sleep, depending on, or a bit of both, whatever. So I haven't been religious about it, but certainly been trying to do it. Now, also finding that last few rounds I've been better at remaining focused on the shot at hand.
Yeah, right.
I'm not necessarily saying that those two things are linked in any way. They could be, but I might be getting better at what I'm doing during the round because I'm actually focusing on doing that and trying to do that and spending time practicing doing that. But at the same time, there's been improvement in that space. So could be something in it.
Could be. I'll have to try it at some point. Yeah. Anyway,
give it a go.
Yeah. Look, the only thing that apart from that I've been really focused on doing is when I've been in the high performance center, I've been really focused on not on swing thoughts, it's on swing feels. And I don't know if that makes sense to differentiate.
It does to me.
not thinking, oh, my club head needs to be, here at this point on the backswing, at there on the, my elbow needs to be tucked in. I'm not thinking those technical thoughts. I'm actually more feeling the feel of where I want my golf swing to be. And because I've started to hit it relatively well, so I know how it feels to put a good golf swing on, and to have to make a good golf swing and then hit a good shot. So what I'm trying to do is as I'm standing over the golf swing, to get that feeling in my mind and really sort of, get a clear feeling of what I want my golf swing to do. And I feel like that's working quite well. So I'm just trying to really strengthen that. So once I get out there on Monday, I've got a really clear, not a clear picture, a clear feeling of what I'm trying to do around the golf course.
No, I like that. I mean, on a personal level, technical thoughts, I really struggle to make a fluid movement if I'm thinking that way. I end up swinging like RoboCop. Not that I'd ever actually seen him swing a golf club. I don't know if he does in any of the various movies. Maybe he does.
I reckon he'd go all right.
I think he'd bomb it.
Yeah.
Like I really do. I don't know how his putting would go with that sort of, that eye slit lens thing that he's got going on in the helmet. Not sure it'd lend itself.
It'd be down the line.
Yeah, but if he gets his head on a bit of an angle, surely that's going to just throw everything off. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
There is footage of I don't know which brand it was, but there was footage of a robot, and it wasn't like a human robot. It was just a robot swinging a club, and it actually had a hole in one.
I have seen that.
Hole. So, they've brought it out to a hole and it's hit a few shots and it actually holed out.
And the robot went absolutely nuts. It was running around, high-fiving everybody, shouted the bar. It was fantastic.
I think it was more rolling around than, it was on wheels. Just rolled down the path.
Yeah, best. It catches up with all of its robot buddies to tell them about the time that it got the hole in. No, it didn't. It didn't do any of those sorts of things. No. But I think the people that were operating it might have gone absolutely nuts from memory.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They were cheering.
Yeah.
Talking about hole-in-ones and coming back to the US Open, how good was
Frankie Molinari.
Frankie Molinari holing out on 9 to make the cut.
Yeah.
How good was that?
That was incredible.
Live.
I mean, that was his last hole as well. Like that was it.
Yeah.
He had to make a 1 to make the cut. This may surprise you to hear this, Andy Walker. That's the first time that's ever happened in US Open history.
I think they went in and they've got 23 years of records, I think. And in any tournament on the PGA Tour, that has never happened.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So it's just, it's incredible, mate, making a 1.
Yeah, because also
on the number.
The other thing that makes it incredibly unlikely is very few golf courses, the 9th or the 18th, are par 3s.
Par 3s, yeah, correct.
So that immediately just shuts down the likelihood of that ever happening.
Yeah.
It's more likely for it to happen, not for the cut, but for the win, because there's no cut on the Live Tour, because you could finish on any hole, right? Like you could finish with shotgun starts, you can finish anywhere. So there is potential on that circuit to have a hole in one to win. That could happen. That's never going to happen on the PGA Tour or in a major because you're going to have to win on the 18th green on the 4th day, and that's never a par 3. I don't think there's any course that they play that's a par 3 on the 18th.
I'm not sure, but certainly, but Pinehurst, the 9th doesn't actually come back to the clubhouse. It's like you start on 1 and the only time you come back to the clubhouse is at 18.
Oh, you go out and back, do you? Is that the way it works?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you go out and back because if you look at, I jumped on again, sort of Google Earth and had a bit of a look at the area, and it's difficult because there are so many golf courses.
I know. I was looking at this and I went,
it's hard to figure out which ones are which. But it actually doesn't. None of the like the ninth doesn't come back to the clubhouse. You tee off the first, and the next time that you're basically back at the clubhouse is on 18.
Is on 18. So, interesting. I mean, I've got to admit, I did the same thing. I really enjoy doing this, and when I'm watching a tournament, is jumping on Google Earth and actually looking at it from above and seeing where it is in relationship to everything else. Yeah. And that area, you're right, like it was just golf course mecca. So whilst I did make my remarks earlier about not loving the native areas around the course, it's a phenomenal place to go.
Yeah.
Because it's just golf courses everywhere. So there's 100%. Got to be something for everyone at that point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It would, what do they say? It's it's not the heartbeat of American golf, but it's something similar to that. And I can see how, because it's just I mean, North Carolina looks like a phenomenal place to.
It does. We might have to
be able to play golf.
We might have to poke our noses around there at some point. But Andy Walker, I think we're pretty much getting to wrap up point for episode 35.
We've covered a fair bit.
We've covered a lot. Pilgrims, I'm interested to know your thoughts. Should we stick to our own games? Or are you happy and interested in hearing a bit of a ramble about topics such as the US Open? I don't know. This is a bit unusual for us. We've gone on a different tangent tonight. There was a fair bit that we had to get off the chest.
Well, it's just so much has happened. I mean,
it's crazy.
And, I don't think there's anyone that watched that event that wouldn't have had some sort of emotional engagement, one way or the other. I don't think you can watch something like that and not have some level of emotional engagement to it.
Look, I totally agree with that. The only other thing that I would say is the nature of podcasting is, which we talked about a bit last episode, that you might be listening to it as it's released. You may have stumbled across our show 10 years down the track.
That is true.
And this may be well and truly outdated now. If that is you, and if you're listening to us in the year, for argument's sake, 2035, then a couple of things. Firstly, do yourself a favour, jump on the 2035 equivalent of YouTube and go back and watch the clips of the 2024 US Open final round. You'll love it. But the second thing is, drop us a note at the Missing Links Golf Show and let us know what the future's like, because we're really interested in knowing that. So if you could, get in contact with Now Us to let us know what it's like in 2035. Is that even possible, Andy Walker?
No. I think you're stretching it just a little bit. There. Mind you, if you can, I mean, lotto numbers would be awesome.
Or even just the next 9 winners of the US Open, so that we can put a couple of quid on them wouldn't be a bad thing. Not that we support gambling on sport in any way, shape, or form. Nevertheless, that's a degeneration, which is an indication.
It's going the wrong way, isn't it?
Which is an indication that we're out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a lot of fun for us at the very least. Andy Walker, we wish you the very best for Monday.
Thank you.
In terms of result and health. Hopefully pain-free, and you get around and you get it around well. And that you get us both a ticket to the New South Wales Senior Open at the end of the year. That would be exciting. So, in other news, I suppose, reach out, let us know what you think, give us some feedback, get out there, there's the big finger, click the auto subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. Otherwise, reviews through iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast service of choice would be greatly appreciated. And check the show notes. Check the show notes for some fantastic deals on some products that we recommend that you'll find in there. And Andy Walker, next episode, we might talk about them in a little bit more detail. But I think for now, check the show notes, click on the links. You'll get yourself, generally speaking, with the code Missing Links Golf or Missing Links. It's in the show notes.
Missing Links, I think it is, all one word.
You'll get yourself a tidy little discount, which is exciting. Yeah. So,
and there's a couple of products there that I'm using that I'm finding really useful. So, highly recommended.
Get on board, people. Other than that, Andy Walker, any last instructions for the pilgrims?
As usual, there's only one thing left to do.
Mm.
Rock out, pilgrims.
Job done.